Saturday mornings are my favorite. The world feels slower, the sun isn't rushing to burn everything alive yet, and even the birds seem to ease into their songs. I was enjoying the peace, coffee in one hand, my favorite porch chair underneath me, when tranquility shattered into chaos. Bang! It wasn't just loud, it was violent, the kind of sound that makes your heart leap into your throat before your mind can catch up. My cup flew out of my hand as I bolted upright. For a moment, everything went silent again, except for the ringing in my ears. Then, a car alarm wailed. I sprinted toward the side of the house, half convinced someone had dropped a meteor into my yard. But what I found was somehow worse, because meteors don't come with insurance premiums. A bright red sports car, new, shiny, definitely expensive, was embedded halfway through my wooden fence. Planks snapped like matchsticks, pieces scattered everywhere like a domino explosion gone wrong. And the driver? None other than Tyler, neighborhood menace, mid-20s brat, and more importantly, HOA President Karen's son. His jaw hung open, face pale as if the crash took all the blood from his head and dumped it onto the ground with the splintered wood. "Tyler!" I shouted, trying to catch my breath. "Are you okay?" He blinked rapidly, stunned, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only thing anchoring him to the earth. I didn't see it," he mumbled. "Yeah, because fences are known for their stealth." Before I could ask anything else, I heard high heels striking concrete like a marching army, and then the screech, "Ty! Here she comes." The terror of the cul-de-sac, show Queen Karen herself. She stormed down the sidewalk with the fury of every Disney villain combined, waving her arms as if she could part the sea with her anger alone. "What happened? Who did this?" she demanded, before her eyes even landed on the fence. Then she saw me, and just like that, the villain found her victim. "You!" she screamed, pointing a sharp, acrylic-tipped finger so close to my face I could smell her perfume. Or was it rage fumes? "This is your fault!" I stared at her, genuinely unsure whether she was joking. "My fault?" I repeated, gesturing to the wreckage. "Your son drove through my fence." "It shouldn't be there," she snapped. "It's too close to the road, it's a hazard." "It's my property line, installed with a permit," I said calmly. But Karen never listened to logic. She only ever heard her own voice echoing inside her brain. "You're paying for the damage to his car," she announced. I actually laughed until I saw she was dead serious. "That car costs more than this entire block," she added. "Well then," I shrugged, "maybe he should learn to drive it." That set her off like a rocket. She furiously fumbled for her phone, tapping the emergency dial with so much drama it looked like she was launching missiles. "I'm calling the police, and I'm filing a complaint with the HOA for dangerous property placement." "Go ahead," I said. "I have documentation. I'd be happy to show the officers." Her eyes narrowed dangerously, like a cat seeing a laser pointer ready to pounce. "You think this is funny?" she shrieked. "This fence is illegal and you will be charged." Tyler, who still hadn't stepped out of the car, piped up weakly. "Mom, let's just go. It's not that." "Quiet," she snapped. "Mommy will handle this." Of course she would. She handles everything. That's why she's banned from 3 Facebook groups. While we waited for the police to arrive, Karen paced back and forth like a guard dog, one trained specifically to sniff out non-existent violations. I pulled out my phone and snapped pictures of the scene, skid marks leading straight from the corner like an arrow guide to stupidity. Across the street, blinds flipped open. Neighbors peeked out. A few actually came outside to watch the show live. Who needed Netflix when Karen was always in high-definition drama mode? Tyler finally climbed out of the car, wincing as he realized the extent of the damage. "My car," he said quietly. "You're driving," I corrected. He glared, but before either of us could continue, we heard the distant sirens. Karen straightened, like a queen preparing her speech. They're going to take one look at this and you're done, she hissed in triumph. But inside, I almost felt bad for her, because she had no idea the officers arriving weren't here to declare me guilty. They were about to change her entire narrative. The police cruiser rolled up slowly, lights flashing but sirens now silent, the kind of arrival that says they already suspect someone's exaggerating. Officer Daniels stepped out first. I recognized him immediately. He'd been here during last year's illegal flamingo lawn ordeal, also courtesy of Karen. He was a good guy, calm, patient, but with that tired look that comes from dealing with too many suburban tantrums. Karen perked up like a peacock that spotted an audience. She practically ran toward the officer. "Finally!" she shrilled. "Arrest him! He destroyed my son's car!" Officer Daniels blinked. "Ma'am, that's not how property damage works." "He built his fence where it shouldn't be," she insisted, stabbing her finger at the innocent wood like it insulted her ancestors. Daniels looked past her, taking in the car lodged in my fence. He sighed, heavily. "So, this is your fence?" he asked me. "Yes, officer. Fully permitted and documented." Karen pushed in front of us. "Lies! This fence is illegal!" Officer Daniels took a slow, measured breath. "Ma'am, we'll review everything. But right now, I need to—" "Oh, I can show you the permit." I cut in and pulled out a folder from the porch table. I'd learned long ago to keep HOA-proof paperwork close by, especially living across from a walking complaint form. Daniels took the papers, scanned them, then nodded. "Everything is valid. Fence is perfectly legal." Karen went silent, but only for half a second. "That documentation must be forged," she shrieked. "Ma'am," Daniels warned, "false claims can become an issue." Karen's face turned red, not embarrassment red, villain origin story red. Meanwhile, Tyler stood beside the wreckage finally, arms crossed, trying to look intimidating and failing. "This fence shouldn't have been here," he insisted weakly. "He should pay for my damage." Officer Daniels raised an eyebrow. "Son, were you speeding?" Tyler's hesitation was answer enough. "And," Daniels added, pointing to the clear skid marks, "you lost control before hitting the fence. This is driver error." Karen gasped like he'd personally insulted her bloodline. "How dare you accuse my son?" she barked. "Do you know who I am?" Daniels gave the exact look of a man who very much did not care. "Yes," he replied bluntly. "I've had the experience." Neighbors chuckled from the sidelines, not loud enough to be obvious, but definitely enjoying the show. Karen pivoted again. She always pivoted when cornered. "Well," she huffed, she pointed at me like firing a laser beam, "should pay for the towing too. This is all his fault." Daniels tapped his notepad. "Actually, the car is obstructing private property. It'll need to be removed. And the owner," he looked Tyler dead in the eye, "will be responsible for towing charges." Tyler's shoulders dropped like someone unplugged him. "And," Daniels continued clear as justice, "you'll receive a citation for reckless driving." Karen screamed internally. You could see it in her eyes, but her voice still found a way out. "You can't do this! This is harassment!" Daniels closed his notebook. "No, ma'am. This is the law." A tow truck arrived, backing up with slow, beeping authority. The driver took one look at the situation and snorted. "Someone had a fun Saturday," he said as he hooked the sports car. Tyler looked like he might cry. Karen looked like she might spontaneously combust. "You're all making a huge mistake," she shouted to the heavens. "I'll sue the HOA. I'll sue the police department. I'll sue—" "You can talk to the station about legal concerns," Daniels interrupted. Karen gasped again, this time like a fish flopping on land. "You're siding with him?" She pointed wildly at me, as if I'd cast a dark fence spell. "He owns the property. You do not." Daniels said it so simply, so plainly it hit Karen like a truck. Neighbors, now fully invested, whispered and smirked. One even recorded the scene. Oh, Karen was absolutely going to hate that later. As the tow truck hauled the car away, Tyler tried to chase after it pathetically. "Be gentle. That bumper's Italian," he cried. Daniels gave me a sympathetic look. "Sorry for the disturbance," he said professionally. "We'll file the report. You'll have everything you need for insurance to cover the damage." "Thank you, officer." He nodded and walked away. But Karen? Oh no, she wasn't done. She marched straight up to me, voice low and shaking with absolute fury. "This isn't over," she promised like some low-budget movie villain. "Mark, my words." With that, she grabbed her sulking son and stomped off, leaving me standing next to a broken fence, and a growing sense that this was only the beginning. Because when Karen says this isn't over, she means she hasn't embarrassed herself enough yet. The morning after the police incident, I woke to the sweet sound of a power drill and the faint smell of pine. I'd temporarily braced the broken section of my fence. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. I was sipping coffee, admiring the calmness of a Karen-free sunrise, when I heard heels clacking across my driveway. Sharp, angry heel clacks, the sound of someone who walks like they have a lawsuit in their purse. I didn't even have to look. Karen. And she wasn't alone. Right behind her stood two HOA board members, Janice, who always looked like she smelled something terrible, and Bob, who looked like he apologized for existing. Karen's smile was terrifying, the kind a shark gives right before it bites. "Good morning," she chirped with fake politeness dripping like poison honey. "We have some business to discuss." I kept my face neutral. "What's this about?" Karen lifted a bright yellow envelope, the kind that screams trouble. "This is a violation notice," she said triumphantly. "Your fence is damaged and therefore an eyesore against HOA regulations." She handed it to me with a victorious flourish, as if she'd just defeated me with paperwork. I opened it. Sure enough, HOA citation for property not maintained in aesthetic compliance. I stared at the paper, then at her. "Karen, your son crashed into my fence." "That's irrelevant," she snapped. "It's ugly now." I swear her logic lived in a different universe, where gravity doesn't work and consequences rarely apply. Janice nodded like a malfunctioning bobblehead. "You have 7 days to repair it or face daily fines." My coffee suddenly tasted bitter. "Are you serious?" I asked Bob, hoping for a shred of sanity. He wouldn't meet my eyes. I don't make the rules." Karen snorted. "Yes, we do. We are the rules." She was enjoying this way too much. "Oh, and," she added casually, like it was just a fun bonus, "you owe us compensation for the distress you caused my son." I blinked. "Distress?" "Yes!" Karen flung her arms wildly. "He's traumatized. He had to witness his beloved car being brutally kidnapped by tow thugs." I couldn't help it. I laughed. Karen's eyes narrowed, promising future doom. "This isn't funny," she hissed. "I will take legal action if needed." Right then, my neighbor Mark wandered over, the unofficial gossip king of the street. "What's going on?" he asked. Karen spun around like a tornado. "None of your business," Mark smirked. "The whole neighborhood saw the bumper kaboom. It's everyone's business." Karen reddened again. She was practically a pressure cooker. I turned to the board members. "Look, I'm getting the fence repaired. I already have insurance handling it. But I'm not paying anything related to Tyler's driving mistake." Karen stepped forward, trying intimidation. "If you refuse to cooperate, we will escalate. The HOA protects the community." "The only thing you're protecting," Mark muttered loud enough for everyone to hear, "is your ego." Karen gasped. That was becoming her signature move. Then she pointed right at me like she was filing paperwork with her finger. "I will make sure you regret this." She spun around and marched away, committee minions hustling behind her. Mark watched her go. "You know she's going to blow this up into a full war, right?" "Oh, I'm aware," I sighed. Cue the montage of petty HOA conflict over the next week. I received 3 more violation notices. One claiming my grass was 1/8 inch too long, one accusing my porch light of being too bright and emotionally intrusive, and one declaring my mailbox was hostile in design. Hostile. My mailbox. Meanwhile, Karen rallied her Karen army, spreading rumors like wildfire. He sabotaged my son's car. He lured Tyler into crashing. He's a fence extremist. Neighbors were split. Half rolled their eyes at Karen, half just wanted popcorn. Then came the final straw. One morning, I found a fresh notice on my door, stamped with big red letters. HOA hearing, potential eviction recommendation. I stared in disbelief. Eviction? Over what? A fence repair already scheduled? Karen walked by, sipping iced coffee through a metal straw like a villain hydrating for battle. "See you at the hearing," she said smugly. "Better start packing." And then she winked. Oh, that did it. That was the exact moment something in me clicked. Not anger, not fear. A very calm, very focused determination. If she wanted a war, I'd give her one. And I wasn't coming unarmed. Because what Karen didn't know was this. I had video doorbell footage of the entire crash, including Tyler bragging to his friends earlier about drifting the corner like Fast Furious. I had the police report. I had the permit. I had the neighborhood's patience on my side. And at the HOA hearing, I planned to flip the entire situation back on her. No more being polite. Karen wanted to play games? Fine. But she was going to lose, painfully and publicly, and I couldn't wait. The HOA hearing was scheduled for Saturday morning inside the community clubhouse, the same place Karen once forced everyone to attend a meeting about proper lawn gnome etiquette. This time, though, the stakes were higher. As I approached, I saw a surprising turnout. Neighbors filled every seat. Even people from the next street had shown up. Drama travels fast in suburbia. Karen sat at the head table with her board trophies, Janice and Bob. She wore a blazer too tight for comfort and a smirk too wide to trust. Tyler sat next to her, sulking like a kid who lost his Wi-Fi privileges. When they saw me, Karen whispered something to Tyler and they both laughed. Perfect. Let them enjoy their pre-victory. Bob cleared his throat nervously. "We are here to discuss the repeated compliance violations regarding your property." Karen shot up from her chair like she'd been launched. "I'll speak," she declared. Of course she would. She dramatically slapped a stack of papers on the table. "This man has been terrorizing our neighborhood with his reckless behavior and refusal to cooperate. He refused to take responsibility for the damage he caused to my son's car." I couldn't stop myself. I laughed. Karen whipped around like she heard blasphemy. "You think this is funny?" "Yes," I replied calmly, "because every word you just said is a lie." Whispers spread through the room. Karen's face turned the color of spoiled ketchup. I stood and placed a small USB drive on the table. "I'd like to submit video evidence." Karen scoffed. "What video evidence?" "The video taken by my doorbell the night your son attempted to recreate a movie stunt in a residential neighborhood." Gasps. Karen jolted like she'd been electrocuted. "You can't show that." But it was too late. Bob plugged in the USB and the footage appeared on the projector, Tyler revving his engine, his friends cheering, "Do it, do the drift!" Then, crash, fence splintering, car smashing through wood, his own voice crying, "Dude, delete that!" The entire room watched, stunned. Karen slammed her palms onto the table. "This is illegal. This is privacy invasion. This doesn't count." But the damage wasn't done yet. I pressed unmute. The audio continued. Tyler bragging afterward, "She can't do anything. My mom's the HOA queen. She'll make them pay." Then the cops arrived, his attitude flipping from cocky to whining. When the video ended, silence filled the room, but not the calm, peaceful kind. The Karen on thin ice kind. Karen shrieked at the board. "He edited that. It's AI. It's..." But even Janice, professional Karen's sidekick, looked utterly defeated. Bob cleared his throat. "That That clearly shows whose responsibility the crash was. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a malfunctioning fish. And regarding the fence, I added, holding up paperwork, my insurance has already approved the repair, which I informed the HOA of 3 times. Here are the emails you ignored. Bob accepted the printed copies with relief, like someone just tore off his puppet strings. And finally, I continued, here is the invoice from a licensed fence contractor, scheduled for tomorrow morning. So the violation notices, baseless. Mark, my neighbor, clapped. Then more joined in. Karen's face twisted in rage as applause swelled. I'm not done, she screamed. You still violated the rules. His mailbox is provocative. Someone in the crowd burst out laughing, then another, then everyone. Karen stood frozen, her power evaporating. Bob turned to her. Karen, it appears everything you submitted was inaccurate. The board will dismiss these violations. And, Janice added reluctantly, we may need to file a report about false claims and personal harassment. Karen's jaw dropped so low it almost hit the table. Tyler muttered, Mom, let's just go. But the board wasn't finished. Bob shuffled through papers. There's also a pending charge from the county for property damage. Tyler will be responsible for the repair costs of the fence. Karen exploded. This is an outrage! Me? Pay? I'm the victim here! No, I replied kindly. You're the cause. Neighbors nodded. The reign of tyranny was over. The board required Karen and Tyler to pay for my fence repair out of pocket, send a written apology within 48 hours, attend community behavior counseling. Yes, that exists. And finally, Karen was suspended from HOA authority for 6 months. That last one? That's when she broke. She screamed. She cried. She pointed at me with claws out. You did this to me! No, I said, standing tall. Your actions did. The room erupted in cheers. Justice had been served with a side of karma. Karen stormed out, dragging Tyler like a shopping cart with one broken wheel. As the crowd dispersed, Mark gave me a triumphant fist bump. Glad to see the fence extremist won, he joked. I looked out at my temporary fence, the sun reflecting off the fresh wood panels stacked nearby. Peace had returned. And Karen? Well, let's just say the only thing crashing now is her reputation.